I don't know if you want to respond now. I would be really interested to hear how you understand the remaking of your event, that we're sitting in a circle is not what you designed. This was an action that in part answers one of the questions on your flyer, which is how do you deal with a leaderless movement? We don't have leaders, but it's just a group of people who showed up here today. And
look, our basic approach to the structure and format here was to defer to the judgment of the students here. So we didn't have any particular plan. We were completely agnostic. We wanted, and we're going to do the same thing at Davis and Irvine.
I think that it's important that we reach some type of consensus on how nonviolent civil disobedience is going to be treated on this campus. So, quick question, I just want to know, is there a policy? Is there a policy on nonviolent? No?
There's a very general... There's a very general policy that is not directed to protest activity or more specifically civil disobedience and nonviolent civil disobedience. I do think that the issue that you've raised is at the core of what the two of us are now looking at and what we need to do in terms of developing a policy likely on a system-wide basis.
I have a question about your mandate and the process of your report to UW. Why is it possible for there to be a second report from a faculty and students group that would maybe give, or working with you, or somehow, I'm not hearing the voice of this community going straight to UCOP?
Here's the critical point in terms of our mandate. We are not going to do fact-finding about what occurred at Berkeley and Davis. Because there are other entities that have that responsibility and have been given resources so that they can, we hope, perform that function effectively. And obviously there would be lots of problems with duplication. So the point is that we're not trying to do fact-finding about what happened, but we hope that the timing is such that those fact-finding reports will be available to us before we finalize our report, and we'll be able to inform the recommendations that we make. We'll be able to piggyback that, learn from it, and I think make use of the history, the experience in the way that you described.
We are having a couple of other town hall meetings. One is 70 miles up the street at Davis next week. We will also have a town hall at Irvine. How will the comments be reflected? Well, first of all, I think the comments will be, or themes will be reflected generally in the report. I have notes, and others have notes, and I believe that some of what we have heard will influence some of the recommendations that we make.
I think it was a great start to a conversation, and hopefully we actually get to see where this goes and that you use this information in a way that actually informs your report and that we see some real policy changes in the near future.
Well, my only closing remark is to thank everyone who came out this afternoon. I can imagine for many of you, you might have been a little cynical about whether it was even worth your time to show up. And from my perspective, it really was worth your time to show up. I think I've learned a great deal.
For those of you who remain skeptical or doubt our good faith, just wait and look at the product, and see if you think we've been reasonably responsive and intelligent in listening to you.
That after I was beaten on November 9th, even despite the fact that I'm a student of nonviolence, the only group that I could turn to who actually approached me was BAM, and their name, by any means necessary, is at odds with my nonviolent beliefs. Though they don't really promote violence, I just disagree with that sentiment, by any means necessary. And so I was put into a position where I joined their lawsuit because I didn't really have any other options. There was no other avenue for me to try and seek justice
Right.
after what had happened to me.
Okay.
And so I said to them, like, I think you need to acknowledge that when you refuse to talk about these events, you put people in these circumstances where BAM is their only choice.
How do you think it went tonight, the proceeding?
I was very pleased with the thoughtfulness of the comments that we got. There were a lot of ideas on the table, many of which we've heard on other campuses, and there obviously was some heat and some distraction with people wrestling over the agenda and the formulation of questions. But when all is said and done, it's clear that there's still a lot of pain on the campus. There's still a lot of pain felt by students, faculty, and staff that has to be worked through. This report is not going to do all the healing that's necessary, but I think we do have some ideas. We're developing some responses that'll make it less likely that our community faces this kind of pain in the future. Okay.
Why were the sorry?
About my kids. Go ahead.
Why were the I don't know if I missed the first part of the forum, but why were the police not in uniform today? The police within this.
It's very clear that police presence in uniform can itself be alarming to people. It can be disruptive. In a way, it's a show of psychological force. So I believe the police made the judgment that they wanted to be here in case problems arose, as there has in some events. But they also didn't want to intimidate or be provocative.
Okay. So there's no follow-up town hall to this one at Berkeley as scheduled.
There's nothing planned, right?
Okay.
We'll go to Davis, Irvine.
And you along with administrators of Cal are going.
Wait,
Are they planned with administrators at Cal? Or
no,
at
they're
Davis?
being planned with students and administrators at those two
Davis.
campuses.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Gotcha. Okay. All right. Thank you for your time.